Hello dear learners, today the topic which we are going to cover is reasoning, deductive and inductive reasoning. What you will benefit with this lesson is, you will be able to understand the concept of reasoning and its significance. You will also know how reasoning skills are essential in our day-to-day life. You will also be able to identify types of reasoning, like there are two types as you can see in the title itself. It is inductive and deductive reasoning. Not only that, you will also be knowing what are some types of deductive reasoning as well as some types in inductive reasoning. Dear learners, you also have an additional benefit with this topic. You know what is that? Most of the competitive exams like bank entrance exam, government job entrance exams, even for your higher studies to do a research, usually you have to write UGC NET entrance exam. So in these kind of different exams, usually in a general knowledge paper, you will get some questions on the topic called reasoning. So this lesson will really help you in understanding the basic concepts of reasoning, and which will obviously makes your preparation very easy on the topic of reasoning. So let's start with the topic of reasoning. Obviously, some of the students who are familiar with the topic of reasoning, or usually they might have attempted in writing exams and all, might feel complex. But let me tell you, reasoning, if you understand, it will be very simple, but if you don't understand, it sounds very complex. So let's start with the topic today. Usually, philosophers address humans as rational beings. What does it mean? Which means that we think before we act. That is, we follow a particular logic to make a decision. It's not that we just act to a stimulus, we just blindly respond. No, you think. So this is nothing but reasoning. In reasoning, we move from what is already known to infer a new conclusion. In our day-to-day lives, we reason in order to make judgments, we reason to solve a problem, also we reason to make a decision. So reasoning, I would say, is a central activity in intelligent thinking. Reasoning is the highest level of your thinking. So to make a decision whether to enroll in MOOC courses or not, you might have used reasoning. When someone asked you what is your favorite movie, you might have engaged in reasoning to choose one movie out of many movies you watched. So to make it more clear, what I'll do first, let me start introducing you with definitions. Right now I'll share with you 4 different kinds of definition on reasoning. So the simplest and the broad definition of reasoning is a process of drawing conclusions. Yes, for example, you have to make a decision. You have many alternatives. Out of that, you'll choose one and you conclude, okay, I'll do this for this. So this is what is reasoning. Actually defined reasoning as a logical thinking process that results in a decision or conclusion. So you just see these both definitions, what it is stressing on. It is stressing on something called conclusion. Now according to Garrett, reasoning is a stepwise thinking with a purpose or goal in mind. So you don't just reason like that. There is a purpose and goal in your mind. So that can be making a choice out of 2, that can be judging, that can be problem solving. That would be your goal in your mind. And to achieve that, you usually engage in a stepwise thinking called reasoning. Now, Markman defined reasoning as a process that enables humans go beyond the information that is readily available in the environment. Let me take you back to the example I given, like readily you read in a newspaper that you can apply for UGC NET exam. So that is the information you seen in a newspaper. Now this is available information in the environment. Now what you'll do, you might have heard this long back from your friend that to do a higher studies or to get a PhD entrance, you have to write UGC NET exam. So what you will do, you're using already information, the knowledge which you have in your mind, plus the available information in the environment with which you come to a conclusion to apply for UGC NET exam. That is nothing but reasoning. With all these 4 definitions I shared with you, certain points are very clear. That is, reasoning is a cognitive activity in which we transform information. Reasoning is basically a process of controlled thinking. It is a process that involves inference. Inference is nothing but coming to conclusion, okay? And next, reasoning has a theme. Reasoning is rational. So as I told you earlier, philosopher says humans are rational beings, which means we use logic. And next is, reasoning is goal directed. It is directly related to some problem or question. Now, reasoning process often takes place subconsciously and within seconds. But sometimes we have to put conscious effort to reach conclusion when we are challenged with a tough situation or question. Reasoning helps an individual to explore mentally the cause and effect relationship of an event or solution of a problem by adopting some well organized systematic steps based on previous experiences combined with present observation. To make it very simpler for you, I'll just give a formula, okay? Available information in the environment plus previous experience in a form of knowledge is equal to reasoned conclusion. Let me give another example. You came to know from your friend right now, your friend called you, said MOOC course is available, now you can apply. And then that is available information in the environment right now, plus previous experience where your friends shared that they really enjoyed MOOC classes and that academically benefited them. So equal to what happens, you come to a conclusion, that is to get enrolled in MOOC classes. Now reasoning may be classified into 2 broad types, deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. Both types of reasonings occur throughout human thought. From a layman to a scientist, all of them make use of these 2 types of reasoning. So in our day-to-day life, subconsciously we use, whereas scientists in their research consciously put effort to come to a conclusion basing on reasoning. So before going ahead, let me familiarize with you some terms. These are the terms which often you come across even while preparing for your exams on the topic of reasoning. That is proposition. So proposition is nothing but any proposal or a statement. For example, buffalo is black, sky is blue, or this tea is very sweet. These are all the statements, nothing but proposition. Now next term is premise. Premise is nothing but a proposition that forms the basis of an argument or from which you draw a conclusion. So a proposition is nothing but a premise. So now coming to the next term is conclusion, which we keep talking about. A proposition that is justified by a number of premises, that is you have 2-3 informations, basing on that you draw a conclusion. So a proposition become a premise when it comes before a conclusion, okay? So a proposition can be a premise, can be a conclusion. So now let's start understanding the concept called deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is a process of reasoning from one or more general statements regarding what is known to reach logically certain conclusion. Is it sounding complex? Don't worry, I'll make it very simpler to you. Deductive reasoning goes from general to a specific or some particular. For example, all college students enrolled for MOOC classes. Okay, so this is the information we have. Okay, this can be called as a premise. Okay, now Sunil is a college student. This is the second premise, that is the second information we have, second statement we have. I am reading it again to you. All college students enrolled for MOOC courses. And the second premise is Sunil is a college student. Therefore, the conclusion would be Sunil enrolled for MOOC courses. Why? Because Sunil is a college student and all college students enrolled for MOOC courses. So, what's it's happening? General information that all are enrolled in MOOC courses, all in the sense college students, and Sunil is a college student. Hence, you can come to a conclusion that Sunil enrolled for MOOC courses. For example, all Indians have Aadhaar card. This is the information you have. Okay. Now, Bharat is an Indian, which indicates Bharat will automatically will have Aadhaar card. So, from a general information you have, you draw a conclusion. That is nothing but deductive reasoning. In deductive reasoning, no new information is added. The conclusion drawn represent information that was already implicit in the premise. So, it is in the premise, you won't go beyond the premise. Whatever the information available to you, only from that you draw conclusion, and that is known as deductive reasoning. Now, there are many types in deductive reasoning, but today I am going to share two important kinds of deductive reasoning types. One is conditional reasoning, the other one is syllogistic reasoning. So, let us see first what is conditional reasoning. In the name itself is there conditional. So, there would be some condition. So, let us see what's that. In conditional reasoning, the reasoner must draw conclusion based on an if-then proposition. If this is there, then that will be there. If this happens, then that will take place. So, the conditional if-then proposition states that if antecedent condition P is met, then consequence event Q will follow. So, if mother shouts, then child will cry. To give an example, if athletes practice hard, then they will win finals. So, this is a statement, deductive statement, which have a condition. So, if they practice hard, then they will win the finals. If you have established a conditional proposition, then you may draw a well reasoned conclusion. The usual set of conditional proposition from which you can draw a well reasoned conclusion is if P, then Q. So, P, therefore Q. For example, let us elaborate more on the previous example, that is, if athletes practice hard, then they will win finals. This is till here you are clear? If P, then Q. Now, if P takes place, those athletes practiced hard, therefore, they will win finals. So, if you meet that criteria, if you met that condition, then you will reach the conclusion, that is, you will win the finals. So, now we will go to the second type of deductive reasoning, that is syllogistic reasoning. This is the reasoning which have been offered by philosophers long back. So, this is the other key type of deductive reasoning is known as syllogistic reasoning, which is based on the use of syllogisms. Syllogisms are nothing but deductive arguments that involve drawing conclusion from two premises. So, all syllogisms comprise a major premise and a minor premise and a conclusion. These are the questions, kind of questions which you often come across your competitive exams, so watch carefully. For example, I have one premise, that is a major premise. The shopping malls accept all major cards. This is a first information, that is a first premise. Now, the second premise, that is a minor premise, MasterCard is a major credit card. This is a second minor information I have. Therefore, I can come to a conclusion, the shopping mall accept MasterCard, because MasterCard is a major card, major credit card, and all shopping mall accept all major credit cards. So, what you are doing, basing on premise 1 and premise 2, you are drawing a conclusion, but you are not going beyond. You are just using the information of premise 1 and 2, and this is known as syllogistic reasoning. So these are the two types of reasoning. One is conditional reasoning, the next one is syllogistic reasoning. Dear learners, I hope till now you are clear with the concept of reasoning followed by deductive reasoning. Now we will go to the next type of reasoning called inductive reasoning. In inductive reasoning, it is a process of reasoning from specific facts or observed facts to reach a likely conclusion that may explain the facts. What I am saying, I am not guaranteeing you, I am not assuring that this will be the conclusion, okay. So that is likely can be a conclusion, which indicates that inductive reasoning goes from specific to a general. To make it more clear, what we'll do, I'll use the same example what I used for deductive reasoning from inductive reasoning perspective. That is, Sunil is a college student, okay, that is the first premise. And next, Sunil enrolled for MOOC courses, okay. What I am saying, inductive is something specific to general. So Sunil is a college student and Sunil enrolled for MOOC courses. Therefore, what would be the conclusion is, all college students enrolled for MOOC courses. Earlier, it is a general information that all college students enrolled for MOOC courses, Sunil is a college student. But over here what I am saying, I have one information, that is Sunil is a college student and Sunil enrolled for MOOC courses. Therefore, I am concluding that all college students enrolled for MOOC courses. So what it mean? It mean that I might reach likely to a conclusion that may explain the fact, but I can't guarantee. That is inductive reasoning. So in research, even scientists sometimes use deductive reasoning to come to a conclusion with existing facts. Sometimes in inductive reasoning, where they try to explore the facts, they take a chance and they might reach a conclusion what they are thinking, or they may not. That is inductive reasoning. From the example, it is evident that in inductive reasoning, conclusion contain new information, because earlier example only Sunil is a college student, but and he enrolled for MOOC. But from where does we came to conclusion that all college students might have also enrolled in MOOC because Sunil enrolled. So what does it mean? It contains a new information which is not present in the premises. Now, as you assuming that you are clear with the concept of inductive reasoning, now we will go to three types of inductive reasonings. They are causal inferences, categorical inferences and analogical inference. First, let us cover causal inferences. In a causal inference, one reasons to the conclusion that something is or likely to be the cause of something else. As the name itself is saying, causal inferences, that is we are reasoning that and coming to a conclusion that this might have caused by this. So this is the effect because of this cause. Don't worry, I will make it more simpler to you. I will give an example. From the fact that one saw a car hit the divider in the night, okay. Now one may infer that the driver was drunk. So you are thinking that you are coming to the conclusion that accident took place because might be the driver might have under the influence of alcohol. But although this conclusion may be likely, but it is not certain, since the accident could have also been took place due to brake fail. But what we are doing, this is a tendency which can take place obviously in inductive kind of reasoning, is discounting error. I mean, you just focus on one thing what is available and you come to a conclusion that he might have drunk, and you focus only on that factor as a cause and you discount other possibilities or other causes which might have also contributed to accident, and this is known as discounting error. So are you clear with causal inferences? Causal, which means we assume or we reason that a particular factor is a cause or is responsible for and we infer a conclusion. Now the second type is categorical inferences. In a categorical inferences, one make judgment about whether something is or likely to be a member of certain category. So you assume with the minimum information available to you. For example, upon seeing a reptile, okay, one has never seen before, a person with a limited knowledge of crocodiles may be confident that he is seeing a crocodile but less certain about specific species. What does it mean? I mean, he upon seeing any reptile in water, he know crocodile, and even on crocodile he have a minimal information and he don't know about any other species, and he saw something going in the water and he thinks it is a crocodile. This is a categorical inference available to him, and hence he is coming to a conclusion that it is a crocodile, but maybe it can be a snake, it can be a fish, or it can be something else. So this is known as categorical inferences. Now the third kind is analogical inferences. Analogical is a kind of comparisons we make. Using a comparison between something new and something known is nothing but analogical reasoning, where we draw a conclusion by comparing two things. So for example, analogical inference involves applying the outcome of a known situation to a new unknown situation. I'll give a simple example. These kind of analogical reasonings you also get in exam. For example, winter is to cold. Now summer is to what? I'll give three options, okay. Summer is to rain, summer is to hot, summer is to snow. Before coming to conclusion, you should compare the already existing analogical inference, that is winter is to cold. So what would be apt for summer? Is it rain? Is it hot? Or is it snow? I hope all you said right answer, that is hot, because there winter versus cold. So summer will be hot, not rain or snow. So you know something, winter is to cold. Comparing that, you also use that to make an analogical inference called summer is to hot. Now in the process, see, we are humans, on day-to-day basis we make lots of reasoning, and in the process sometimes we might also commit some basic source of errors. One thing is, we commit overextension errors while we try to apply heuristics in deductive reasoning. Heuristics are nothing but judgments or shortcuts. In these errors, we overextend the use of strategies that work in one reasoning or syllogism to a syllogism in which the strategies fail us. So the tendency, another kind of error, the tendency is confirmation bias. So this is another kind of potential error where we tend to pay attention primarily to information that confirms existing views of beliefs. For example, for instance, in an emergency room, if a doctor assumes that a patient has a condition X, the doctor may interpret the set of symptoms as supporting the diagnosis without fully considering all alternative interpretations, and this can be obviously danger or threat to a patient. So whatever the information is available, he is highlighting and seeing that, and this is known as confirmation bias. Well, these are some of the errors we might commit in the process of reasoning. Students, I hope you are clear with the concept of reasoning, and I am sure the examples provided to you will help you further in understanding the concept in the text, as well as these small basic concepts will also help you or make you strong to prepare for competitive exams. So with which I am concluding this class on the topic reasoning inductive and deductive.